you take advice from somebody who you don't want to be? If I call you and you don't pick up the phone, and I call you again and you don't pick up again, we have a problem. Cheating is what you need me to work with you on? What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Miss Amarachi, and we are getting into my unfiltered thoughts on Blue Therapy, the show on Netflix that features couples that have been dating and married for various amounts of time. So far, I've already gone through Carmen and JR Jr., Dami and Jermaine, and Mike and Yasmin. If you're interested in those videos, scroll down and you'll see them. Now that we've gotten through all of the married people, let's go through all the people who are shacking up and have no business being together. We're going to start with Debbie and Kelvin. So, Kelvin, workaholic. They've been together for 10 years. They are not married. Y'all know my thoughts on people being together for all these years and not being married. I'm not going to rehash them, but separate immediately. Kelvin works too much and prioritizes the restaurant more than his relationship. He's controlling of Debbie because of the fact that he has all of this financial. He has a lot of money through his restaurant, so he's very controlling of her. There was a comment that he had made that turned me left because I was like, that's insane. Essentially, Kelvin will be, at the restaurant all hours of the night, whenever, and let's say Debbie is out with her friends. He will send her a car without her telling him that she's ready to go home. He'll send her a car, basically indicating it's time for you to go home. Insanity to me. You don't run this shit, I do. Kelvin think that this shit is sweet because Debbie don't really say anything. But that's because all they do is talk about him, right? All they do is talk about him. I was trying to read my notes. Sorry, y'all. All they do is talk about him, his upbringing, what his needs are, what he needs. Oh, I need you to stay down with me while I'm doing this restaurant thing. And then here comes an added issue, which is the mama and the sister. And that's mainly what I want to hone in on their specific review, because I think that it's extremely important, especially as women, to if you date men, if you plan on marrying a man as a woman, you need to, one of the most important things you need to do is understand that man's dynamic with his mother. And if he has sisters, his sisters or his siblings, you need to understand the dynamic that man has with his mother, specifically his mama. Kelvin is in a marriage with his mama. His mama has used Kelvin. Kelvin's mother has used him as a surrogate husband, right? Backstory, Kelvin's parents got a divorce because Kelvin's mama was working a lot. They got a divorce, and now Kelvin is being raised by his mama. Kelvin and her sister are being raised by her mama, and she's still a workaholic, right? Actually, let me take that back. I don't know if they got divorced because she was working a lot, but she was a workaholic his whole life, right? Kelvin has now formulated in his mind that he too has to be a workaholic. But the thing that he's messing up is taking advice from somebody who you don't want to be like. Kelvin, by his own admission, said, and I'm sorry if I keep scratching my nose, y'all, my allergies is whooping me. But anyway, Kelvin, by his own admission, said he don't want to end up like his mama. Not being in a relationship because she's a workaholic. But you're taking advice from the one person you don't want to be like. Now, ask yourself if that makes sense. Because when I asked myself if that made sense, I said it doesn't make sense. So you're telling me that you don't want to be like somebody, but you're taking advice from them? Don't you think that's a surefire way to become them? Why would you take advice from somebody who you don't want to be? Furthermore, when you're in a relationship, and I be telling people, the only people that need to know about what's going on in your relationship, if y'all having little issues here and there, is you and that person. Now, if it becomes, domestic violence and all this stuff, definitely tell people, right? And even if it's a thing of I need advice on something, I also think that you shouldn't bring family and friends into it, because what happens if or when you have an issue with your partner and you tell your friend, your mama, your sister, whoever, what that person did, and then you take them back, that's gonna alter a lot of things. Because I know for me, I be telling my friends, don't tell me certain shit if you don't want me to hold a grudge. Because you might forgive that person, but I might see that thing as unforgivable. Now, I'm a little different when it comes to relationships, because in all honesty, I don't care about my friends' relationships or I don't care to insert myself in their relationship unless it's domestic violence. So if my homegirl says, Rachi, I want to talk to you about something, this and this and this and this, I'll give her advice from my perspective, but I'm not the type of person that's going to hold a grudge or, look at your partner some type of way. But that's just me, because I don't invest myself in people's relationships. A lot of people are not like that. So Kelvin, when you tell your mama all the things that your girlfriend is not doing, you tell your mama, who is a workaholic, who you by your own admission said you don't want to become, but you're asking her for advice. You tell her all these things. You're confused as to why your mama said what she said. It's because you've created an environment where she's comfortable to say, oh, well, I don't think that's your woman. She need to just get with the program. And then you set that girl up, because I feel like that conversation that he had, his mama had with her, was a setup. You know your mama. You know her mouth, you know her temperament, you know how she is. If you claim to love me, if you claim to want to be in a relationship with me, if you claim to want to do this from now until forevermore, you don't set me up to where your mother feels comfortable enough to say certain things to me. And if she does, you check her immediately. That's how that works. You need to say something to her immediately. Hey, ma, chill out. Like, nah, not my girl. Like, nah, you can have your opinions, but you're not coming in between. Because, and that's why I said they have an incestuous husband and wife relationship, him and his mama. Because for that lady to get on the phone and she really told that girl, what did she tell that girl? She told that girl, you've been in this long enough, you've been in this too long to leave. That's crazy. That's somebody who's saying to you, I'm going to say whatever I want. You ain't going nowhere. You already put up with it this long, so you might as well stay. And Debbie, you look stupid. To me, you look goofy, because no amount of money will get me to stay in a relationship that's not feeding me, bruh. Money is cool, but I think that, again, a lot of people think that money is everything. Money is not everything, bruh. Tomorrow, the dollar could be worth nothing. What are you going to do then? Okay, so you're buying me Van Cleefs and Gucci bags and Coach purses and all that stuff, but I don't see you unless I go to your place of work. What kind of relationship is that? How is that fulfilling? That's why when people say, oh, what's your love language? I never say gift giving. I could give a damn about a gift. I like gifts. Give me gifts, absolutely. Show me that, you think about me. If you saw something in the store that you thought I would like, definitely pick it up. You want to spoil me? I love that. But if the trade-off is you giving me gifts versus you giving me time, you act like you doing actual stuff for me, you could keep the gifts. I would rather the quality time. I would rather you servicing me in our home when we're together. And I think that Kelvin thinks in his mind that, well, actually, I don't think Kelvin wants to be in a relationship, and that's another thing. Y'all need to be asking yourselves, what matters more to you, your career or a relationship? Because relationships ain't easy. And neither is running a business. But you got to compromise, work-life balance. And if you don't want to have no work-life balance, you don't need to have no life. Just do work. Just do work. But you staying with a man who obviously cares more about others, and then on top of that, she has said that they were supposed to go on a date. He was an hour late because his friend called him and said there was a soccer team playing. And you sat there. You sat there and you waited for him. You sat there and you waited for him, man. You sat there and you waited for him. He even said out of his mouth that he was picking work. And you in your delusional mouth said, I want him to focus on me. I don't know what's going to come. But I think I want us to focus on each other. And he's telling you, I want to focus on work. You are an idiot. You are an idiot. Debbie, you are an idiot. Anything that happens to you in that house, you sat there, you wanted it to happen. That's on you. You two, break up. Break up immediately. Immediately, break up immediately. Right now, we finna get into Moms and Shay, the LGBTQ, the two ladies. Now, it's so funny because whenever you look at a relationship, right, no matter if it's heterosexual or homosexual, there's always going to be one person that falls more on the feminine side and one person who falls on the masculine side. In heterosexual relationships, it's usually the men who fall on the masculine, the women who fall on the feminine. In LGBTQ relationships, like I said, it's always one person that's probably a little bit more masculine, one that's a little bit more feminine. But one thing that I've noticed, no matter if it's LGBTQ or heterosexual, the person who is the masculine, who falls into the masculine, always act like a man. They always act like a man. And what do I mean by that? The way that they think, them screws be loose. That cheating be on the next level. That being outside be on the next level. And we saw it here. We saw it here because even though these are two women, Maz is the woman, Shay is the man in this relationship. Okay? Let's really get into it. Shay is a cheater. Shay don't think that talking to other girls outside is cheating. That's cheating. That's emotional infidelity. Just because you didn't do the intercourse don't mean you didn't cheat. That's cheating. Because if I entertain somebody else, no matter if we just talking, texting, going on dates, hunching, that's cheating. That's cheating, okay? If your partner calls you, this is another issue I had with all the people, but especially moms and shit. If I call you and you don't pick up the phone, and I call you again, and you don't pick up again, we have a problem. Because how hard is it to text somebody and be like, hey, I can't chat right now, I'm doing X, Y, Z. When I call my mama and she on the prayer line, she declines the call and say, hey, I'm on the prayer line, let me call you back. So I don't be understanding when people in relationships, like it was a video, it was it was an interaction when Shay was with her friends, her guy friends, and Maz called her, and this girl looked at her phone and said, see? And then Maz called Shay's friend and still didn't get no answer. I don't think that people understand, one, how easy it is to just text somebody and say, hey, I can't talk right now. But also, two, you never know why that person is calling you. And that's why, as much as sometimes I begin annoyed, frustrated, whatever, I rarely decline a call. Rarely. Especially if it's from somebody who I know. Right? My little sister, one of my little sisters who always calls our group chat. Whenever she calls group chat, I always answer. And the first thing she always says is, I know that you're always going to pick up. I know that you're always going to pick up. I know that you're always going to pick up. And the reason why is because I put my trust in God, and I know that God's plan is the ultimate plan. But I also recognize that you don't never know what tomorrow holds. You don't know when somebody's last day is. You don't know what somebody could have been in. You don't know when somebody might need you. And it plays in my mind very often when people talk about, I've seen so many people have interviews where they say, my friend committed, they called me right before and I didn't answer. What if I could have been the one to talk them off the ledge? What if I was their last goodbye? What if? I have no space in my mind, body, spirit, or soul to play the what if game. So I would rather you just call. I would rather just pick up the phone and you, because my sister do this all the time. Like I said, she pick up the phone and don't be talking about nothing. I could have ignored it. But what if the one time that I didn't answer the phone was when she needed me most? And that's how I feel about relationships. Again, yes, there are going to be times when you can't answer the phone. I'm not saying you have to answer everything. But it's so easy to just respond and be, even iPhone has made it so easy for you to just click a, can I call you later? Can I call you back? Custom message. In a meeting. Let me call you back. Busy. Let me call you back. I'll call you back in 10 minutes. But to just ignore somebody and not pick up and intentionally ignore them, I think that that's mean. That's mean and nasty work. That's mean and nasty work. Another part of mean and nasty work. Shay, you're an attention seeker. An attention seeker has no place in my life. Because what do you mean you get turned on just because a girl came up to you and talked to you? That's it? You're a goer. You are a goer. Shay, I literally wrote, I said, Shay is a goer. I said, Shay is easy. She's a goer. She said if a girl even so much as says hi to her, she's going. Because she sees it as having confidence. I'm not LGBTQ, but Shay would hate to see me coming. Because I say hi to everybody. So someone saying hi to you makes you feel like, oh yeah, I want that. You're that easy? You're that much of a goer? Then Shay talking about if moms did the same thing, she would run. And that's why I be trying to tell y'all. Men can't take what you give them. Anybody who says women are more emotional than men don't know men. Because what the truth is that women show their emotions more than men. But men are more emotional. Men can't take what you give them. If you do to men what they do to you, the hole in their chest, you will be able to see through it. Front, through the middle, and through the back. You will be able to see through it. Men are the most emotional people you'll ever meet. And so that whole, oh, women are more emotional, that's a lie. That's a lie. Then, and this is when I wrote run. I wrote run. Shay said, things aren't going to change over time, but you got to work with me. You know what doesn't change over time in a relationship? Let's say I tell my boyfriend or my husband, hey, babe, I like when the pillows are fluffed when the bed is made. And my man be like, I got you. And the next day, the pillows aren't fluffed. Hey, babe, I like when the pillows are fluffed. I got you. He forgets. But over time, he finally gets it. Yeah, those things, that's what you can work with. You know what I'm saying? That's what you can work with. Or like another thing, very tangible. Men like to keep the seat open, leave the seat open. So if you tell your dude, hey, babe, I fell into the toilet. I really would appreciate if you were more mindful of when you keep the seat open. Seat up. All right, I'm working. Work with me. Just work with me. Eventually, he'll start to leave the seat down. Cheating is what you need me to work with you on? Is that what you want me to believe? Is that you want moms to work with you on cheating? Diabolical. Last but not least, moms ain't got no friends. Moms ain't got no friends. Vic ain't got no friends either, which I didn't speak on that when I talked about Vic and Marie, but I'm going to speak on it with moms and Shay. I can't have no relationship with somebody who don't got no friends and who don't have nobody outside of me. Because I understand moms when she's saying, or I understand Shay when she's saying, it feels like moms just want me up under her all the time and I can't have no outside relationships. I can't be with my boys. I can't be with my people because she's lonely in the house. I talked to a boy one time and he told me he don't got no friends. It just be him and his animal in the house. Now that's not the only reason why I stopped talking to him, but that was one of the reasons. Because I have quite a few friends. A lot of them don't live here, but I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of close relationships with people. If you think that I'm going to be the only person that you're going to be with and that you're just going to be attached to me at the hip, it's not going to work. I need you to go be with your boys. Please. Please, go be with your homies. Let me go be with my homegirls. We can spend a lot of time together, but we need to have relationships outside of each other. And when you telling me you ain't got no relationship with your parents, your siblings, you ain't got no homeboys, no homegirls, it's not going to work. Break up immediately. Thank you.